It's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline with me, Liyana Hassanel. The top stories. Malaysia Madani white rice to curb cartel interference. And government researching on 10-year validity for Malaysian passport. The study will be concluded within a reasonable time frame, following the decision on the matter. Good morning. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the proposed Malaysia Madani white rice initiative can curb cartel interference in the country's rice industry. However, no decision had been made on the matter, which will be discussed in detail at the upcoming National Action Council for Cost of Living NACO meeting.
No, we are cutting cartel intervention, but we'll discuss this at the next NACO meeting.
Anwar said this briefly to the media during his visit at Menara Maybank in Kuala Lumpur on Monday. He was commenting on a recent statement by UMNO Youth Chief Dr. Muhammad Akmal Saleh, urging the Prime Minister to reject the proposal for the implementation of the Malaysia Madani White Rice Initiative, claiming that it will support cartel activities. Last Wednesday, Bukit Gantang MP Datuk Syed Abu Hussein Hafiz Syed Abdul Faisal, who chairs NACO's Food Prices and Cost of Living Committee, proposed for the Malaysia Madani white rice be made the sole category of white rice in the country and sold at 30 ringgit per 10 kilogram bag, 15 ringgit 50 cent for 5 kilogram and 3 ringgit 50 cent for 1 kilogram. The upcoming NACO meeting, which will be chaired by Anwar, is expected to discuss the proposed initiative this Friday. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said the banking sector should bear the responsibility, along with the government, to ensure the success of economic reforms highlighted in the Madani Economy Framework. According to Anwar, the framework aims to achieve an economic transformation by increasing economic value within the global supply chain and enhancing the sustainability of the national economy.
Dalam ekonomi madani, kita gariskan beberapa keutamaan. Dia termasuk keutamaan dalam bidang yang saya sebut yang relevan hari ini tentang PMKS. Dan sekali lagi terima kasih kerana pembiayaan keseluruhannya itu mencecah 44 bilion ringgit. Ini bukan jumlah kecil.
Anwar said this in a speech at the launch of My Impact SME Hub organised by Maybank on Monday. In addition, he said that the Madani Economy Framework is focused on 3 industries to raise the nation's status, namely energy transition, food security, and digital transformation. However, to ensure a fair distribution of wealth, the framework also stresses the need for the micro, small and medium enterprises to participate in these industries. Anwar also said that the financial institutions are a pillar in the national economic system, as they assist in building confidence among the public as well as local and foreign investors. The Home Ministry, through the Immigration Department, is conducting a study to extend the validity period of passports to 10 years, compared to the current 5 years. Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said this was because several countries had already practiced the 10-year passport validity period.
Sudah pun diamalkan di kalangan negara ASEAN macam Thailand, Indonesia, Filipina dan Singapura. Begitu negara seperti Itali, Perancis, Amerika Syarikat dan United Kingdom. Saya percaya dalam tempoh yang munasabah, bila hasil kajian itu kita perolehi, kita akan membuat keputusan dasar tentang keperluan untuk pasport, tempohnya 5 atau 10 tahun.
Saifuddin said this at a media conference after the opening of the Shaftesbury Passport Office in Putrajaya on Monday. According to him, the study would be concluded within a reasonable time frame, following which a decision on the matter would be made. Previously, Immigration Services Union Peninsula Malaysia recommended extending the validity period of the passport to 10 years from 5, with an appropriate fee. At the same event, Datuk Sri Saifuddin also said that his ministry will obtain the necessary information concerning 3 leaders from different Islamic non-governmental organizations, NGOs in Malaysia, who were listed in the Terrorist Screening Centre, TSC, by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. The minister confirmed that he has contacted the Inspector General of Police, IGP Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein, regarding the matter.
Saya pun baru mencarakan dengan media, mengetahui perkara itu 1-2 hari lepas. Saya telah menghubungi Tan Sri Ketua Polis Negara dan juga untuk memberikan saya gambaran yang lebih tepat berkenaan dengan perkara itu. Yang kita tahu adalah FBI membuat request berkenaan dengan perkara itu. Ya? Jadi kita kena semak dulu fakta yang tepat. Saya tak bersedia untuk memberi fakta tangkap muat atau sama-sama.
It was reported that 3 leaders from different Islamic NGOs in Malaysia actively involved in managing aid to West Asia have been listed in the FBI's TSC. Confirming this was Op Ihsan Secretariat Chairman Jismi Johari, who said the Foreign Ministry has directed these individuals not to be involved in Op Ihsan, which oversees the delivery of humanitarian aid from Malaysia to the people of Palestine in Gaza.
Dive into the pulse of Pulau Pinang's economic vision. What's the driving force behind the Pearl of the Orient's impressive growth? And what's the state's key strategies and future plans?
Join me as I will be speaking about Pulau Pinang as the investment powerhouse in this country.
This Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim granted an audience to members of the Royal Commission of Inquiry, RCI, to review the handling of cases involving the sovereignty of Batu Putih, Middle Rocks and South Ledge at Istana Negara on Monday. The King also presented the 7 members of the RCI, chaired by former Chief Justice Tun Mat Raus Sharif, with their instruments of appointment. According to a post on Sultan Ibrahim's Facebook page, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Sri Azalina Othman Said, was also present during the audience with the King. On February 14th, it was reported that Sultan Ibrahim had consented to the setting up of the RCI in line with the Commissions of Inquiry Act 1950. In October last year, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim had said the issue of Batu Putih could be resolved with the direct involvement of the Attorneys General of Malaysia and Singapore. Anwar also urged the then Attorney General Tan Sri Idris Harun in December to hold talks with the Singapore government on the controversy concerning the claims over Batu Putih. The directive called for Idris to review and re-examine the issues surrounding Batu Putih that had been awarded to Singapore by the International Court of Justice, ICJ, before this. Former Bukit Mas Member of Parliament Datuk Mutang Tagal has been appointed the 20th Dewan Negara President. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim nominated Mutang, the sole candidate for the post, at the special meeting of the Dewan Negara on Monday.
Saya mohon mengemukakan cadangan iaitu Yang Berhormat Senator Datuk Mutang Tagal dipilih sebagai Tuan Yang di-Pertua Dewan Negara. Beliau merupakan anak jati negeri Sarawak, berasal dari kalangan etnik Dun Bawang. Ini adalah satu lagi pelantikan yang bersejarah dan komitmen berterusan Kerajaan Madani dalam mengiktiraf dan memastikan suara, pandangan dan perwakilan dari semua kalangan rakyat, termasuk orang ulu di Parlimen.
Mutang, who was sworn in as a senator on Monday before Dewan Negara Deputy President Datuk Nur Jazlan Mohammed, is the first Indigenous Sarawakian to be appointed to the post. His appointment, which was consented to by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim, is for a period of 3 years, from February 15th until February 14th, 2027. The 69-year-old is a trained lawyer and has served as a member of the Dewan Rakyat for 2 terms.
Perundangan adalah bidang dekat di hati saya. Maka pengalaman dan pengetahuan saya sebagai pengamal undang-undang akan saya gunakan sebaiknya bagi terus memperkasa dan mempertabatkan lagi kedudukan Dewan Negara dan Parlimen Malaysia sebagai badan legislatif di Malaysia, seperti yang diperuntukkan oleh Perlembagaan Persekutuan.
The post of Senate President has been vacant since January after the resignation of Tun Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, who was subsequently appointed Yang di-Pertuan Negeri of Sarawak. Palestine accuses Israel of colonialism and apartheid at UN's top court. News from the Foreign Front when we return.
Bila harus berdiri di atas kaki sendiri?
Pada usia berapa ya kena berdikari? Isnin nanti.
Ikan bilis antara menu pembuka selera.
Nantikan pelbagai menu berasaskan ikan bilis Selasa ini.
Pura-pura bahagia, hakikatnya diri tersiksa.
Keganasan dalam rumah tangga, Rabu nanti.
Ramai yang ambil mudah masalah pada ulu hati.
Dan apa pula kaitannya dengan masalah gastrik dan juga masalah jantung? Jangan ambil mudah.
Romantisnya diorang tu.
Tayang bahagia nampak?
Semuanya di WSHO TV3
dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Menarik dalam MHI sepanjang minggu ini.
Kes pertedihan Undang-Undang Persekutuan dan Negeri ramai yang keliru. Apa kupasannya?
Kesihatan dengan ujian serangan awal cegah sebelum terlambat.
Waspada risiko kebakaran, banyak faktor keselamatan yang perlu diambil kira.
Diskusi menarik dalam soal wang bercakap tentang zakat emas.
Semua ini dan banyak lagi.
MHI Isnin hingga Jumaat 9.30 pagi di TV3.
Dan juga stream secara HD ditonton.
Motosikal tanpa brek jadi ikutan.
Diorang ni buka brek belakang ni untuk kelajuan ke? Memang nak pergi lajaknya.
Nyawa pengguna jalan raya semakin terancam.
Saya nak kesedaran kepada diorang ni, nyawa diorang sendiri. Apa yang dia buat tu boleh mengundang kematian, kemalangan, kecederaan kepada mereka.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
The Foreign Front. The UN's highest court on Monday held historic hearings into Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories since 1967. On the first day of the hearings at the Hague-based International Court of Justice, ICJ, the Palestinian side demanded an immediate end to the occupation.
Palestinian representatives at the ICJ also presented their arguments on the legal consequences of Israel's occupation of the West Bank, East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip. They argued that the existence and exercise of the Palestinian right to self-determination is not and can never be a matter of negotiation. The representatives also asked the ICJ to declare that Israel's discriminatory practices against the Palestinian people are tantamount to apartheid, stating that the Israeli occupation was illegal and must be brought to an immediate, unconditional and total end. Proceedings is expected to continue on Tuesday, with representatives from South Africa, Algeria, Saudi Arabia, the Netherlands, Bangladesh and Belgium presenting their arguments. Overall, the court will hear from 52 countries and 3 organizations on the legal consequences of Israel's occupation of the West Bank, Gaza and East Jerusalem.
Communities.
At least 64 people have been killed in the tribal violence in the Northern Highlands of Papua New Guinea, with one police officer describing the killings as the largest in the Pacific nation's recent history. According to police, some 64 bodies were retrieved from the roadside, grasslands and hills of Wapinamanda on Monday morning, and the death toll is expected to rise. It was reported that the killings began at dawn on Sunday in the Wapinamanda district of the Enga province, involving the Ambulan and Sikin tribes, as well as their allies. The rival factions used high-powered guns, such as AK-47 and M4 rifles in the battles. It was reported that the military had deployed about 100 troops to the area, but their impact had been limited, with the security services remaining outnumbered and outgunned. Russian investigators have not yet established the cause of Alexei Navalny's death, and it is unclear how long it will take for official conclusions to be made. In a statement, Navalny's spokeswoman, Kiara Yarmish, said that his 69-year-old mother and lawyers were told that the official verification of the cause of death had been extended and that it was unclear how long it would take. So far, the cause of death has been declared as undetermined, but Yarmish has accused Russian authorities of lying and stalling. His mother and lawyers were not allowed into the morgue on Monday in the Arctic town near the prison colony, where the authorities said he dropped dead. Navalny, a 47-year-old former lawyer, fell unconscious and died on Friday after a walk at the Polar Wolf Penal Colony in Karp, about 1,900 kilometers northeast of Moscow, where he was serving a 3-decade sentence. Navalny's mother, Lyudmila, was told on Saturday at the prison colony that he had perished from sudden death syndrome, a vague term for different heart conditions that end in death. A day after his high-profile release from detention, Thailand's former Premier Thaksin Shinawatra met with prosecutors on Monday to discuss allegations he insulted the powerful monarchy, during which he appeared truly ill. According to local media, the influential billionaire, who has loomed large over Thai politics for 2 decades, reached the meeting in a wheelchair wearing a neck brace. The Attorney General's office said more investigation was needed before deciding whether to indict the 74-year-old tycoon for insulting the crown. The complaint made by the military that ousted his sister Yingluck Shinawatra's government stems from an interview Thaksin gave while in exile in 2015. Insulting the monarchy is a serious offence and a major slur in Thailand, where the constitution states the king must be held in a position of revered worship. Thaksin will need to report back on April 10th to hear the office's decision on the royal insults probe. Bayern suffers yet another loss. Sport.
Bila harus berdiri di atas kaki sendiri?
Pada usia berapa yang kena berdikari? Isnin nanti.
Ikan bilis antara menu pembuka selera.
Nantikan pelbagai menu berasaskan ikan bilis Selasa ini.
Pura-pura bahagia, hakikatnya diri tersiksa.
Keganasan dalam rumah tangga, Rabu nanti.
Ramai ambil mudah masalah pada ulu hati.
Dan apa pula kaitannya dengan masalah gastrik dan juga masalah jantung? Jangan ambil mudah.
Romantisnya diorang tu.
Tayang bahagia nampak?
Semuanya di WSHO TV3
dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Tanyalah Ustaz minggu ini, Isnin meminta jawatan. Selasa, qada puasa. Rabu, ilmu bermanfaat. Khamis, rahsia di sebalik mimpi. Jumaat, remaja dambaan Rasulullah SAW. Tanyalah Ustaz, biar tahu jangan keliru di TV3 dan TV9, stream juga melalui tonton.
Tujuan mereka pergi ke Madinah ini sebenarnya untuk membai'ah Habib Shah ini sebagai Imam Mahdi.
Bersama kira-kira 300 pengikutnya telah ke Arab Saudi.
Dan dihantar pulang, diusir balik ke Malaysia dan tinggallah pengikutnya itu.
Dan tak sempat untuk pulang ke Malaysia, melahirkan anaknya di dalam bilik hotel.
Sampai tahap makan sup kentang, survival mereka di sana lah.
We're back with sports football, the German Bundesliga. Bayern Munich slumped to a shock 2-3 loss at lowly Bochum on Monday, third successive defeat for the first time since 2015. Bayern broke through early in the 14th minute when Jamal Musiala fired a scorcher into the top corner. Takuma Asano leveled the score for Bochum after 38 minutes, slotting a low shot past Bayern's goalkeeper Manuel Neuer, before Kevin Schlotterbeck's header gave the home side the lead a minute before the interval. Kevin Stoger's 78th-minute penalty put the game to bed after Dayot Upamecano received second booking for elbowing an opponent in the box. Harry Kane tapped in his 25th league goal 3 minutes before the final whistle, but it was too late for Bayern to mount a comeback. The result saw Bochum move up to 11th place with 25 points, while second-placed Bayern trails 8 points behind Bayer Leverkusen. In another match, Freiburg equalized 3 times to salvage a point in their 3-all draw with Eintracht Frankfurt. The visitors took the lead in the 27th minute through Omar Marmoush, just for Frankfurt to equalize 3 minutes later when Ritsu Doan tidied up a rebound off Kevin Trapp. Ansgar Knauf put Frankfurt back in front in the 35th minute, but a penalty and stoppage time at the end of the first half allowed Vincenzo Grifo to level the score for Freiburg. Knauf again put Frankfurt in front the 72nd minute, and with just minutes away from the final whistle, Mikhail Gregorich headed in a corner to force both sides to be satisfied with a share of points. The draw moved Frankfurt 4 points clear of Werder Bremen in 6th place, the last European spot. Coming up, over 1 million ringgit worth of Zamzam water seized in Kedah.
Bila harus berdiri di atas kaki sendiri?
Pada usia berapa yang kena berdikari? Isnin nanti.
Ikan bilis antara menu pembuka selera.
Nantikan pelbagai menu berasaskan ikan bilis Selasa ini.
Pura-pura bahagia, hakikatnya diri tersiksa.
Keganasan dalam rumah tangga, Rabu nanti.
Ramai yang ambil mudah masalah pedih ulu hati.
Dan apa pula kaitannya dengan masalah gastrik dan juga masalah jantung? Jangan ambil mudah.
Romantisnya diorang tu.
Tayang bahagia nampak?
Semuanya di WSHA TV3
dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Hari ini.
Motosikal tanpa brek jadi ikutan.
Diorang ni buka brek belakang ni untuk kelajuan kak. Memang nak pergi lajaknya.
Nyawa pengguna jalan raya semakin terancam.
Saya nak kesedaran kepada diorang ni, nyawa diorang sendiri. Apa yang dia buat tu boleh mengundang kematian, kemalangan, kecederaan kepada mereka.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Tujuan mereka pergi ke Madinah ini sebenarnya untuk membaiah Habib Shah ini sebagai Imam Mahdi.
Bersama kira-kira 300 pengikutnya telah ke Arab Saudi.
Dan dihantar pulang, diusir balik ke Malaysia dan tinggallah pengikutnya itu.
Dan tak sempat untuk pulang ke Malaysia, melahirkan anaknya di dalam bilik hotel.
Sampai tahap makan sup kentang, survival mereka di sana lah.
We're back with local news. In Kedah, the Customs Department seized 5,000 bottles of Zamzam water worth more than 1.26 million ringgit, which were attempted to be smuggled into the country at the Bukit Kayu Hitam Immigration, Customs, Quarantine and Security ICQS complex on February 13th. State Customs Director Nur Izzah Abdul Latif said the Zamzam water was seized from a container lorry driven by a Thai man.
Hasil pemeriksaan terhadap muatan dibawa oleh lori tersebut, pasukan telah menjumpai anggaran sejumlah 5,000 botol air zam-zam. Setiap satu botol 5 liter yang tidak diikrar dan tiada permit dengan anggaran sebanyak 25,000 liter. Manakala anggaran nilai rampasan keseluruhannya adalah sebanyak 1.262 juta.
Noriza said the Zamzam water bottles were hidden in the back part of the container, while the front part was filled with boxes containing fabric softeners to conceal the smuggled items. She also said that the Zamzam water is believed to have been smuggled in to avoid duties and taxes. Additionally, she said that the Health Ministry also confirmed that no distributor or company in Malaysia has been granted a license to import and sell Zamzam water. The case is being investigated under the Customs Act. Meanwhile, Kedah Customs Department also foiled an attempt to smuggle 120 kilograms of marijuana worth 420,000 ringgit into the country. The operation took place during routine patrol around the river at the Malaysian Fisheries Development Authority jetty in Sungai Berembang, Kuala Perlis on Thursday. The contraband, neatly concealed in 6 sacks, was found during the raid at 2:45 a.m. after authorities received information about drug smuggling activities in the area. It is believed that the seized drugs were destined for distribution in the coastal regions of Kuala Perlis, Kuala Sanglang, with an estimated reach of around 600,000 potential users. The case is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act.
Tujuan mereka pergi ke Madinah ini sebenarnya untuk membai'ah Habib Shah ini sebagai Imam Mahdi.
Bersama kira-kira 300 pengikutnya telah ke Arab Saudi.
Dan dihantar pulang, diusir balik ke Malaysia dan tinggallah pengikutnya itu.
Dan tak sempat untuk pulang ke Malaysia, melahirkan anaknya di dalam bilik hotel.
Sampai tahap makan sup kentang, sup survival mereka di sana lah.
In Johor, the Batu Pahat Magistrates Court set March 11th for remention in the case against Muhammad Haikal Mahfuz for the alleged murder of Mila Sharmila Samsusah, better known as Bella. Magistrate Suhaila Shafiuddin made the decision after Deputy Public Prosecutor Siti Khalijah Khalid informed the court that the prosecution had yet to receive the forensics report for the case. Haikal, who was Bella's boyfriend, was charged with her murder on January 24th. 5 days after being arrested upon his return from performing the Umrah. No plea was recorded as murder cases fall under the jurisdiction of the High Court. According to the charge sheet, the former postman was charged with murdering 32-year-old Mila Sharmila at an abandoned house in Lorong Imam Jailani in Tongkang, Pecah. He was alleged to have committed the offence between 11 p.m. on December 14th and 5 a.m. the next day. Bella was reported missing on the night of December 14th. Skeletal remains found at the abandoned house were later confirmed to be hers. Haikal was charged under the Penal Code for murder, which carries a term of imprisonment of not less than 30 years and not more than 40 years, with caning of no less than 12 lashes or death upon conviction. A construction worker became the first Kawat offender in Terengganu to be sentenced to caning by the Terengganu Sharia Court on Monday. Judge Hamidi Shafi meted out the sentence on 42-year-old Muhammad Afendi Awang, who pleaded guilty to the charge under the Sharia Criminal Offences Enactment Amendment 2022, which came into force last January 1st. Judge Hamidi ordered Afendi to be caned 4 times and fined 3,000 ringgit, in default 6 months in jail for the offence, with the whipping sentence to be carried out within 14 days from Monday if there is no appeal. Afendi pleaded guilty to being with a woman in her 30s who is not his wife between 1:10 a.m. and 2:15 a.m. last January 25th on the 3rd floor of a premises that was undergoing renovation in the Kemaman district. The whipping sentence was imposed on Afendi as it was his second offence. He was fined in July last year for a similar offence. In his judgment, Hamidi said the punishment meted out on Muhammad Afendi was also intended to serve as a lesson for him and the society. as it works to expand the country's tourism offerings. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for tuning in, and be well, Malaysia.